City.
Actually, that's spot on.
It is spot on.
All the competition that try to compete.
Everything is spot on.
We got the Miami Heat surprisingly sneaking their way into the NBA Finals. I know a lot of us had expectations of possibly the Bucks or possibly the Celtics. And we have your Los Angeles Lakers and LeBron James in the finals. What do we expect out of this matchup, you guys? Do you think Miami can possibly pull up the upset? Do you think they can pull it to 7? What you guys feeling?
Well, I'm going to go first on this one. Honestly, I don't know what to expect. I know what we think we expect, what we've seen in history is usually when you have superstars, 2 top 5 to 6 players, they usually end up winning the championship. And I think the Lakers are heavily favored for a reason. We got players like LeBron James who can, dominate and control the tempo of a series himself. He's an offense, and a game manager within himself. And then Anthony Davis, who, has been playing lights out. He's always played well, but he's disappeared in key moments, especially sometimes in the fourth quarter. But I think against the Nuggets, he really asserted himself at times in that series, especially hitting that game winner. And a lot of times I thought he kind of was better than Jokic and took Jokic out the game in the fourth quarter. But you also got to look at the Heat. And I think that obviously the Lakers are top heavier and they're a little top heavier than the Heat. But if you look at the Heat as far as production from maybe 1 through like 8 or 9, I think they have the Lakers beat. When you look at, you got players like Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero that could come in as, and Tyler Hero is kind of like the third, option. He's moved up. But even Duncan Robinson, Goran Dragic, Bam Adebayo, like Jay Crowder, anybody could come in at any given moment, any one game, and get you 20 to 25 or be that spark plug. Especially when Jimmy Butler is running the offense, he's not worried about getting his 20 to 25 shots every game. He's not worried about ISOing and being the man and then everybody getting their plays off of that. They're really running fluid offense. It doesn't matter, who's the man that night. They're just going to go out there. They're going to play hard defense. They're going to get in your face. They're going to compete on every possession. They're going to shoot, a good percentage from 3, as they've shown consistently in the regular season and in the bubble. They're going to get in your face and they're going to take smart shots on offense. And I think that they're not scared of the Lakers by any means. They got a lot of fearless players that are willing to take big shots. They got a lot of bodies that they can throw at LeBron. They got bodies that they can throw at Anthony Davis, small and big. I think they can play big with the Lakers. Maybe not, if they put multiple bigs on the floor, but they can kind of play big with the Lakers, get physical with them. And obviously they can play small. So I got the Lakers winning, kind of just a consensus pick. I think ultimately the talent will win out and they'll get it done in 6. But I also wouldn't be surprised if a team like the Heat, I've been seeing a lot of the analysts on TV kind of make the comparison to that 04 Pistons team, how they're just kind of rugged, man. And, they'll get in your face and, they're kind of the team that's just going to walk in. They're not scared of you. And they can, like I said, even though it's over a span of, 4, 5, 6 games, you got one game where Jimmy Butler goes crazy. You have a Tyler Hero game, and then maybe you have a Duncan Robinson, Jay Crowder, and Bam Adebayo game. And before you're looking at it, it's, they win it in 6 or 7. So I could see it going either way, but ultimately I think Bron gets his 4th ring and Anthony Davis gets his 1st.
What you think, Trey?
I'm a LeBron fan. I just feel like the Lakers it just feel like a season of destiny. Like that's just how I feel. I know the Heat, after if you playing pickup ball, the first 2 picks obviously gonna be LeBron and AD. But like John said, the next probably 3 to 8 is gonna be probably a Miami Heat player. And they got the better depth and everything, but in the NBA, in the history of the league, most of the time stars win championships. And the two top stars on the Lakers, you got LeBron James, the best player in the world, and you got Anthony Davis, who this playoff run, a lot of people questioned before the season, is he a top 5 talent or a top 5 player? And he solidified that this playoff run, he's a top 5 player in the world. He finally got his chance on the big stage, and he had a game 1 and game 2 in the West Conference Finals the year of Kobe after it. And that's why I feel like they're going to win. I just feel like ever since that helicopter crash, the Lakers season has gained more purpose. It's like they are, like they said, they dedicated this playoff run to Kobe, and I really think that LeBron and Anthony Davis and the rest of the Lakers want to bring that championship back to LA to just lift the spirits of the city of LA, to lift the spirits of all the stuff they lost with all the fires and stuff, and Nipsey and just Kobe and Gigi. And I just like LeBron looked focused. Like everybody else was celebrating, he on the ground. He just had this laser focus. And I know the Heat are a great team. I expected them to beat the Bucks. I did pick them to beat the Bucks. I didn't expect them to make it to the finals. I thought Boston would take them out. But I don't. I just feel like the Lakers, they could LeBron can control tempo, and then when you bring Rondo, he can control tempo. And I feel like the Heat hasn't played a big like Anthony Davis. Like they played Giannis, but his game is limited. The first round they swept somebody. They swept the Sixers, right?
Pacers.
All right, they swept the Pacers. And then the last round, Boston had no big that they needed really to pay attention to. They basically just had it was basically just Jaylen Brown, Tatum. They had small people to pay attention to. With Anthony Davis, they could put him in the middle of that zone, and he had that deadly mid-range jump shot. If they want to run that zone all game, he could pick that apart. And then you got LeBron controlling tempo, with Rondo controlling tempo. As long as the Lakers role players hit timely shots, they don't have to shoot crazy on three. Just hit the timely threes. I just think they can win. I think what the thing carries over the whole playoff. Lakers in 5. Like they're gonna be Lakers in 5, man.
Yeah. One point I want to make, and speaking on your point about the shooters, I think kind of one thing that concerns me is the Lakers are too reliant on those outside shooters. Especially I think the Heat will play it when you kind of, obviously you don't want LeBron to dribble penetrate, and they're going to try to make him shoot as many jump shots as he can. But also once he drives in, I think they're going to collapse and make him pass the ball to those outside shooters. And a lot of their points are going to have to come from them knocking down those wide open shots and taking that pressure off of LeBron and Anthony Davis. Otherwise, they're going to be able to load up on them. It's going to make it harder on them to score, and they're going to have to play more of a half-court game. But one thing I'll look at, too, is I think this is the year that, we've seen a couple upsets happen already. We've seen some crazy things happen, coming down from 3-1 twice in the same playoffs, things we've just never seen. And we didn't even expect the Heat to make it to the championship. But when you look at the role players, people always talk about how the role players play on the road and how that affects in playoff series. It ain't no road right now. There's no advantage for the Lakers. There's no extra game in LA, or there's no travel to LA. There's no hostile environment. You're kind of just straight in the gym hooping. So I think when you look at the role players who are already more consistent for the Miami Heat, they're kind of going in there with less pressure. There's no crowd noise. There's no damn, I got to perform. There's no damn, if I miss this shot, they're going to boo me or anything like that. They're kind of just hooping in that kind of like, solemn gym mindset. And I think that could play if, like I said, if we're going to see a big upset in the finals, this would be the year for it, because, the playing field is equal for every team, and it's equal for the Heat, and it's equal for the Lakers. So if the Heat just come out and attack with that dog mentality, and in case the Lakers, off guard, they could win a couple of games, and, they can make it a series or ultimately win it.
Do you really expect LeBron? Like LeBron loses the finals. He don't lose to like he really ain't lost to no like Jimmy Butler type stars. Like the stars he lost to was like Tim Duncan, the best power forward of all time. He lost to KD. He lost to KD and Steph. He lost to Dirk. That playoff run, Dirk was probably the best player. I ain't gonna say that for that playoff run, Dirk was probably the best player on the planet. He was cooking that whole playoff run. But I just don't see a Jimmy Butler led team beating him. And I also don't see LeBron losing to Pat Riley, because a lot of this, like with them meeting up, a lot of these old stories are coming back up from when he left back in 2015, 14. And they said Pat Riley Pat Riley, he said he didn't say this, but LeBron basically said that Pat Riley told him he's making the biggest mistake of his life by leaving Miami to go back to Cleveland. So I really think LeBron will try to stick it to Pat. I think he really wants this, and I think Coach Spoelstra probably really wants this too, because LeBron tried to get him out the door when LeBron first got to Miami. So it's a lot of juicy storylines going on. But end of the day, man, I just don't see LeBron losing to Miami. Like, I don't see it. And they went 2-0 in the regular season, but like you said, John, that was a regular season where you had to travel back and forth. With this bubble, like I think it might go 6 and 7 because of the bubble, because the comfortability factor. But the Lakers gonna win it. I just feel like they have a bigger purpose than basketball right now. They're gonna try to win this with Kobe.
We thank you guys for tuning in to this week's episode. Be sure to check out more shows here on this YouTube page, such as SOS Discussions or My Point Exactly, and most of all,
keep watching Spot on Sports.
it's a new wave of sports that's sweeping the nation. We're not just accurate, it's spot on.